Union at Pearson Airport for a family separated amid war.
I got my heart.
We'll show you the moment when a Brantford father meets his baby daughter for the very first time, born in the middle of the war in Gaza.
Protection costs money. And these organizations, public institutions, are always in need of cash.
Plus another cyber incident at a public institution in the GTA. A hack at the school board in York follows a ransomware attack at the Toronto Public Library. How library employees are now learning their personal info may have been exposed.
Coming out, we bring a lot of energy, and I know the fans are going to mimic us.
If we don't win tomorrow, it means nothing.
And pressure performance, capping off a franchise record number of wins this season, will get you set for the Argos East Division final. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. We've shared so many stories of heartbreak in relation to the war in the Middle East, but tonight we get to start the show with an uplifting one. An Ontario father had his prayers answered today, finally getting to meet his newborn baby. She was born in Gaza just 3 weeks ago, but she and her mother were able to escape, and today they both arrived safely at Pearson Airport. Hallie Chiasson was there for the touching moment.
I can't wait. I can't. We are waiting, but it's so hard to wait.
With his pregnant wife stuck in Gaza, Ahmed Abdeljedian watched as the war raged around her from all the way in Brantford, Ontario. The two were recently married in Cairo, but she went back to Gaza with family when things got bad. But now,
Time to be very happy and active and thankful and I can't find a word.
his wife Yara and newborn Sila made it through the Rafah border crossing this week and are en route to Toronto. Ahmad's friends wouldn't miss this moment.
I met him through my husband. My husband actually met him through a mosque. They've been sending him photos. He can't physically see it. So he needs to really be there in person with her, to feel her, to touch her, to really connect with her. So that's why I'm really, really excited for them to finally meet, because it'll be a completely different kind of connection that they'll finally have.
She's got them stocked with supplies.
Some diapers in case she needs to change before we get home. Some wipes, and I got her some diaper creams, pacifier.
And Sila's first snowsuit or two.
This is adorable. And this one as well. I just wanted to give her some options.
Ahmad missed his daughter's birth 3 weeks ago, but after today, he won't miss another moment.
It's okay, I got my heart. Fantastic.
When asked about the travel here,
It was enjoyable and easy, and the Canadian here, they make everything easy for her.
as for what the future holds,
We will build our future in Canada, and if we can help our family back home in Gaza, because yes, they are there and they need help. If we can put them in safe, we will do, because we love them as we love each other. We want to ensure our life here, ensure our daughter, make our life is happy.
Sila has a new uncle in Brantford MP Larry Brock.
Hey, you're beautiful.
And a community of friends and new neighbors rooting for them as they plant roots in their new home.
We have to be positive. We have to be looking not to the past, looking to the future now. We made it really good.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
A beautiful moment there, seeing that family coming together, but in far too many instances, the Israel-Hamas war is tearing people apart. And Toronto's mayor today saying she was compelled to speak out, calling for a ceasefire along with the release of all hostages. Dale Manukduk has that part of our coverage tonight.
There's yearning for life, and as we mourned all those lives that are lost, both Israelis and Palestinians, that there's a yearning for peace.
Today, Mayor Olivia Chow joining Torontonians who for weeks now have been calling for both a ceasefire and the release of all hostages. But Chow doesn't know if her words will make an impact.
I just know that each night when I see more killings. Each morning when I see these hate crimes being committed, I felt that I'm compelled to say something.
Her words do mean something to Ahmed Youssef, a Palestinian Canadian from Gaza who says he's lost 4 cousins. His family's home there was bombed, many relatives, including his nieces, displaced.
This has to stop immediately. What we've seen today is an important step, and I urge all city councillors, all provincial and federal leaders to follow steps to call for an immediate ceasefire.
The mayor also made clear that any form of hate is not welcome in Toronto. The National Council of Canadian Muslims says it's dealing with multiple incidents of Islamophobia every day in the city.
From elementary schools, from high schools, from colleges and universities, from people on the streets, from workplaces. It really has to stop.
This morning, Indigo Books near Bay and Bloor Streets was vandalized, covered in red paint, accusing CEO Heather Reisman of funding genocide. Today is the same day when Nazis destroyed thousands of Jewish-owned stores and buildings.
That this happened on the 85th anniversary of Kristallnacht only further contributes to the perception that we are in a very dark moment. History does not repeat itself, but it does often echo.
Toronto police confirmed that the hate crime unit is investigating. Over the last few weeks, there have been other instances of Jewish-owned businesses being targeted in Toronto. During pro-Palestinian rallies, video emerged on social media of demonstrators calling for boycotts of both Cafe Landwehr and Aroma Espresso Bar.
Actions like this contribute to an environment that is making many Canadian Jews feel anxious, unsafe, and unwanted.
Police say an update on reported hate crimes will be presented at the next board meeting on November 23rd. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Now turning to yet another cyber incident with a public institution in the GTA. York Region District School Board announcing today police are investigating after a hack of its network sent things offline earlier this week. We're also learning new details tonight about whose personal information may have been exposed after a ransomware attack late last month on the Toronto Public Library. Patrick Swadden is live for us tonight at the Fort York Library. So, Patrick, bring us up to speed on both of these situations.
Yeah, Chris, obviously part of a troubling trend. The York Region District School Board releasing a statement today confirming that it had in fact been hacked. Now, it said, "We know the public rely and trust the board to securely maintain its data. All our actions have been taken to ensure the integrity of staff and student data and ensure privacy is protected." But it's unclear what data, if any, was affected or compromised. Now, it follows news that the Toronto Public Library was the target of a cyber incident in late October, but only 3 days ago was the library confirming that it was in fact a ransomware attack. At first, the library said there was no evidence personal information or staff or users was compromised, but earlier today, the library now sending an email to employees saying that their data may have been exposed and promising further investigation to find out what and whose data could have been affected. Now, I spoke to a library employee who we agreed not to name. She says she's frustrated with the library for taking nearly 2 weeks to say that that sensitive employee data was exposed. Now, we spoke to a security expert earlier and asked why it's public institutions that might be the brunt of this attack.
The problem we have right now is the protection costs money. And these organizations, public institutions, are always in need of cash to fund the programs that they run. To put a cybersecurity solution in that maybe costs $500,000 is not really feasible, right? So inevitably what they do is they'll choose modified solutions or potentially more cost-effective solutions. And inevitably what that means is it's easier for the hackers to attack those organizations.
Okay, so creating the potential for this troubling trend to continue, Patrick. What are you learning about what public institutions can do to protect themselves?
Yeah, that's right. And what this expert is saying is that they really have to focus on very easy and simple solutions. I know we've heard about it before, but they're saying focus on things like multi-factor authentication. And the other thing they're saying, Chris, is that most attacks actually happen because people simply click on bad links. So what he's saying is that education is a very important key here.
What they can do is focus on training. Right, training will prevent, probably 90% of the attacks, right? And so, maybe they can't buy the expensive cybersecurity solutions that the large companies do, but they can focus on that piece. The training is easy and affordable.
Now, the York School Board is saying that it's working with third-party experts and law enforcement, and they say that there is going to be a thorough investigation when all of this is done. Chris?
All right, Patrick Swadden reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Patrick. I'm popping outside for a live look this Friday evening. 3 degrees with lots of cloud cover out there. Nick Cernkovich is along for the ride again tonight, tracking our weather story. Hey there, Nick.
Well, Chris, double digits again today as we hit 10 degrees in the city of Toronto. Actually, a little warmer than I expected. And really, that just came down to the sunshine in the morning before it clouded over in the afternoon. There's a look at the afternoon temperatures today. Daytime highs hitting double digits in a lot of areas across the region. Now, with the cloud cover, we're actually seeing overnight lows that are going to be a little bit warmer as well. And that's because the cloud cover often acts to insulate the temperatures a bit. So still looking at cloud cover in place for tonight. We'll see a few clearing breaks in those areas that get clear skies through the overnight. We'll also see some cooler temperatures, but the cloud cover returns across the GTA for tomorrow. Mainly cloudy skies. It's not really until tomorrow evening and into Sunday where the sky cover begins to clear out. 1 degree tonight in the city of Toronto. Cooler outside. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies, high of 5 degrees, although still looking at some sunny breaks. Similar as we head into Sunday. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just a bit. Chris.
All right, Nick, sounds good. We'll talk to you again a little later on. But we'll take you now to Etobicoke, where a woman is dead and a man has been arrested after a stabbing at a condo near the Queensway and Kipling this morning.
Information was received at approximately 6 o'clock this morning. An individual entered the lobby from within the building and reported that they were involved in an altercation. From that, officers located a scene in which a female was inside being treated by Toronto Paramedic Services and Fire Department for injuries that she sustained.
The woman, believed to be in her 50s, was found in a condo unit with stab wounds. A man, also said to be in his 50s, was arrested at the building and taken to hospital to be treated for minor injuries. Investigators say the pair appear to have known each other, but they're still trying to determine the exact nature of their relationship. Tomorrow will be a somber day for many people in Canada, marking Remembrance Day. And here in Toronto, ceremonies will be held at war memorials and cenotaphs right across the city. Plus, the Toronto sign at Nathan Phillips Square will be lit red to mark the day. And TTC vehicles will pause for 2 minutes right at 11 a.m. Tyler Cheese spoke with veterans and their advocates today about what's top of mind for them this year.
Well, I was in the Navy and I served in Korea.
95-year-old Richard Ratcliffe served in the military for about 25 years, including 2 tours during the Korean War.
I think we knew we were doing the right thing while we were out there. We had a great feeling that we were doing it for the United Nations.
This Remembrance Day, 70 years since an armistice was reached between North and South Korea, he's reflecting on the significance of the day.
It brings back memories of old shipmates that I had during that service.
This year's day of commemoration for military veterans and those who died in service to Canada comes at a time when many are reflecting on active conflicts happening overseas.
It's a very challenging time for everybody.
For the True Patriot Love Foundation, this year is just as much about acknowledging those involved in active service as it is about remembering the past.
On the ground in both Ukraine and in Israel and in other parts of the world, Canadian men and women are deployed right now, protecting our democracy, supporting Canadian interests around the world, supporting our allies.
For others, Remembrance Day is also about acknowledging a complex military history in Canada.
I never thought of myself as a veteran when I got out because of how I was forced out.
Gray was fired from the Army in 1981 in what would become known as the LGBT Purge, a time when many military members and public servants lost their jobs because of their sexuality.
The federal government issued an apology for the purge in 2017.
Last year, Gray marched with fellow veterans for the first time in decades.
I was so pleased to be able to be there, filled with great pride and marching again. But at the same time, you think, what if? You know, what could have been?
Today, organizations like the Rainbow Veterans of Canada and True Patriot Love offer recovery programs for veterans from vulnerable communities. Tyler Cheese, CBC.
Returning now and taking you east of the city to Whitby, where residents and a local councillor are raising concerns about the cost of a plan to turn a former long-term care home into an emergency homeless shelter. A developer bought the property earlier this year, then flipped it to the region months later for millions of dollars more. Ryan Patrick Jones takes a closer look at those concerns.
The 85-room Sunnycrest nursing home closed its doors last year. A Toronto developer bought it for $8 million in January. Then Durham Region paid that developer $13.7 million to acquire it in August, an increase of more than $5 million in a matter of months.
As somebody who's a taxpayer, to me, I think the region got taken for a ride.
Pratik Sagar lives 2 doors down from what will soon become a 45-bed, low-barrier shelter. He's one of several residents criticizing the plan. They say the region overspent, and they worry the shelter could disrupt the neighborhood's safety.
All in all, this is, to me, is a massive letdown of taxpayers' funds. They have not been responsible, fiscally or otherwise.
I think communities are very concerned with how the costs are going to be pushed back onto the taxpayer, and yet taxpayers don't have a say in how this money is being spent.
Durham Regional Council voted to authorize the purchase in June. The regional councillor for Whitby, Steve Yamada, says it was a bad deal.
I don't see how in about 6 months this goes up in price by about 70%. I think taxpayers have questions, and I've always believed that public dollars deserve public answers.
While there are plenty of critics of the purchase, the region says the acquisition was a good bargain. The region says there's an urgent need for shelter to address a rise in homelessness across Durham. So renovating an existing building that's already equipped with private rooms, washroom facilities, common areas, and outdoor space is more cost-effective than building a new one. And the region says the purchase price was based on a third-party appraisal.
The good value proposition in this building was it allowed us to use it as a turnkey solution with a short lead time to actually convert it into some shelters for 2023, which was not practically possible if we had started with the vacant land.
Work to transform the building into a working shelter is already underway. It will include a 3-meter privacy fence and around-the-clock security. The region says it could open by the end of the year. Ryan Patrick Jones, CBC News, Whitby.
And from Whitby to Windsor, it's expected to be a bit cooler across the region this weekend. So let's turn to Nick with the long-range forecast.
Well, Chris, as we head into Remembrance Day, we're looking at the weather. A lot of people going to be outdoors tomorrow, and it's going to be cool, but it'll stay dry. Here's a look at your weather headlines. Temperatures falling at least a little bit through tonight, Remembrance Day. Tomorrow, expect cool but dry weather in the forecast, and overnight lows dipping below that 0 mark. Now, showed you the big picture. Here we look at it again. Cloud cover kind of staying to the north. Now, what's happening is with these sort of northerly winds, we're getting these bands of cloud cover that are moving off of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. And I think just the way it's lined up, we're going to see generally cloudy skies across the city of Toronto. That lasts through tomorrow morning and into the evening. Then it sort of breaks up for Sunday. We've got good deal of sunshine, just a little bit of high cloud cover sweeping across the region through Sunday afternoon. So all in all, cooler temperatures heading into the weekend, but also dry and in some parts sunny as well. Winds easing off through the overnight period. Tomorrow, light winds in the forecast, and that carries us through until Sunday as well. In terms of temperatures through the overnight, we're looking at overnight lows of 1 degree in the city of Toronto. But again, in areas where we see the cloud cover clear out, the heat is able to sort of escape, and we'll see temperatures dropping down to, say, -1 in the Barrie area, -2 down toward Hamilton. So it really is going to depend on the cloud cover and whether you have it in the area that you're in. 5 degrees for tomorrow for Remembrance Day. We've got mainly cloudy skies to a mix of sun and cloud at times, mainly sunny skies on Sunday with a high of 6 degrees. Overnight lows down around the 0 mark. Double digits, though, on Monday, and we get those milder temperatures that stick around into mid next week. Chris.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Nick, and we'll be right back. Finishing off the show tonight with the excitement and pressure around the Argos finishing off their season. Tomorrow, the team takes on the Montreal Alouettes in the East Division final in front of what is expected to be the biggest crowd in years. Greg Ross gets us game ready.
Some final preparations at BMO Field before the Argos play their most important game so far in what has already been a big season.
This is a history-making year, right? We've made history this year.
Kelly again, looks left, comes back right, Coxie, double move, down the sideline!
There has been a lot of excitement about the way the team has played this season, winning a franchise record 16 games, which also ties the league record. But there is still work to be done.
If we don't win tomorrow, it means nothing.
I've been trying to preach to our players all week. You know, the regular season's kind of out the window. It's the new season.
Whatever has happened in this season, you know, it's already happened. Right now is just the right now, and you got to stay in the moment. Seize the opportunity that's in front of us to really essentially be legendary.
Throwing.
The Argos will be the heavy favorites when they host the Alouettes in the East Final tomorrow afternoon.
Kelly hands it off.
But quarterback Chad Kelly says that's not their mindset going in.
Touchdown Argos.
We go out every day and work as if we are the underdogs. We come out with a blue-collar mentality each and every day.
Home field hasn't always been a big advantage for the Argos in recent years, but this weekend it could be. The Argos are expecting the biggest crowd they've ever had here at BMO Field.
Over 25,000 tickets already sold, and it's scaling towards a potential sellout, which would be the first in this facility in BMO Field.
Clemens knows all about playing in an East Final in front of a big crowd at home.
Cody looks over the middle for the pinball. He's got it.
He helped the Argos win in 1997 at the Sky Dome in front of more than 32,000 fans. The 2023 roster will now get their chance.
I'm expecting it to be exciting, expecting it to be loud, expected to be filled with just a lot of cheering, a lot of joy. You know, we're coming out, we're bringing a lot of energy, and I know the fans are going to mimic us.
That just fuels the players to play even better. So we're looking for some loud fans and some big plays.
Sends this one away from 45. Good snap, good hold!
If the Argos win tomorrow, they'll earn a berth in the Grey Cup next week, which will be played just down the QEW in Hamilton.
No bigger reception than the one he just took.
Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, good luck, guys. And that is our show for this day and this week. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you back on Monday.